So hopefully they'll jump back on.
Yeah.
Man, yes, I think we were talking about with the
You were talking about the mask of masculinity.
yeah, Lewis Howes. Yeah.
And then I think it was your boy, what was my man's name that joined last? He said something where it was like, I find it difficult or something like that.
Oh yeah, probably it's Kawan. Hopefully he can we can get him back on here. He strong dude. You talk about somebody who, hey Didi, what's happening? Kawan, hey Kawan, can you put your question back in there, man? That was it caught Q's attention. I wasn't able to read it, to really grab it, but it was on the subject of vulnerability and as a strength, not a weakness, and that being the hardest part about a guy's relationship, at least the hardest part I think internally for us, not the hardest part of a relationship.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as your experience with vulnerability, I mean, I guess, or let me not put that word in your mouth. What has been, as a male, what do you feel is the most difficult part of a relationship for you?
Difficult part of a relationship. I mean, it's so many. Relationships are such big dynamics to even label like, oh, one thing, like, you know, is a big thing, because vulnerabilities can take so many different what's the word,
different
forms, there you go. So even if I do go down the line of vulnerability, like, you know, you're with somebody, and then my example, I live, my wife and I live apart right now. That's a vulnerability. I hate it every time I have to leave her. So that's difficult, you know.
Do you mind if I pinpoint something real quick?
Go ahead.
The most difficult part of a relationship, I think, is you conquering your own fallacies or challenges.
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind me putting this out there. So, for one thing that Q and I talk about is that their challenge right now with living apart is that Q very much is the provider, you know, feels so, you know, I need to make sure that financially I'm providing, but then is also wants to be able to create for himself now. And so one of his, I mean, this is personal to him as far as his own challenges relative to him. That is a challenge within the relationship, because it's something that he's wrestling over and is trying to figure out, how do I now present this to my spouse? How do I conquer this myself? So as far as trying to provide, but then also making sure that you are doing what you need to do to be happy for yourself.
Right. It's a balancing act. Like, right now my wife isn't working because she's pursuing her thing. You know, like, we decided that she was unhappy in her job and she wanted to pursue acting full time. So we were like, bam, there you go, let's make it happen. And so now that she's wrapping up with her schooling, I come upon training and coaching, and I love that. Like, I get fired up for that. And I'm in a work position that I'm like, I'm moderately happy about. So it's like, how can I do this balancing act of being the provider for my wife who doesn't have a job, but at the same time still make myself happy and pursue the training thing.
Yeah.
And it's a juggling. It's juggling, you know.
Yeah. I think it's
asking partner for help.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think it's relative to everyone. And I noticed what you mentioned, Kawan, asking your partner for help. And I know you in the sense of you're a very strong and independent person. And a lot of times you may not ask for help because we know that you're capable of doing that. And so I think the most difficult part of a relationship is conquering your own challenges, to be honest. I mean, you're mentioning pride, which to me is a double-headed, double-edged sword there, because inner strength can also come off as pride. So, you know, it's a pro and con to it.
Yeah.
But I think, to really answer your question, what's the most difficult part for men? I think it's conquering our own challenges to make sure that we're there the way we need to for our spouses. So come on, if you didn't already know, brother, this is advice that I wish I got from my mentor about relationships. These are, we talked about things being caveated where there's certain lessons that you're just not going to learn from the verbal.
Right.
You might hear it, but it's just not going to sink in until you yourself have experienced it. So by no means, when we do these live videos, do we think that this is going to be the end all be all? Do we think that our advice is the end all be all? But to be honest, we've had coaches, you know, sports wise. We've had mentors. We've had different people that we've pulled things from, and we've coupled it with our own experiences that we had. I think one of the biggest things that I got is just an overall awareness of those people being there. Yeah. I have a coworker, and I kind of want you to speak on this perspective. I have a coworker whose son is a high school football athlete.
Okay.
Talk about the advice that your coach gave you guys on relationships, or things that he might have omitted that was pertinent at the time. But as you're coming through there, I mean, you know, he's this young brother. He's 14, I think 14 to 15. He's big boy, you know, looking to go to a good school. Talk about from that vantage point, you know, what your coaches might have said or might have omitted that would have been helpful for you.
I mean, you're gonna hear it. Stay focused. Don't let your guard down. Blah blah blah. All that. And like being an elite athlete in that level, you're gonna have to make sacrifices that your friends are not gonna have to.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't preface this. This brother ran D1 track for Mount St. Mary's. This brother was no slouch when it comes to college.
I just knew he was about to talk about the high school dude. I'm like, yeah.
But I mean, he's ready. He's looking to go to that level.
Okay.
So he's there and he's looking to go to that level, and so talking about where he wants to be. So he's now going to hear from you as that next stage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I didn't preface that. So Q ran D1 track athlete. He was on that level, experienced those things. So that's why I can't speak from that vantage point.
Okay. Yeah, but that's one big thing, man. Like, it's gonna becoming elite, becoming that next level of great. Sometimes can be lonely. You know, there's gonna be times when you miss out on things that your friends are doing. There's going to be things that you can't take part in because, you know, you need to prep for the game or you need to go rehab or whatever. But just know that when you get to that next level, everybody will be doing that with you. So that was so in high school, I would be at the track late. Everybody was gone home, doing their homework, blah, blah, blah. I would still be at the track practicing. But when I got to college, it was nothing for the whole team to be outside putting in extra reps with me because we needed to fine tune something. So as you become more and more elite, there's going to be more and more people that are taking those extra steps, those extra layers of success with you. And that's across the board. That's in your day job, that's in your passion, whatever. If you love it, don't be afraid to put in those extra reps. It's going to be lonely, but know when you get to that next level, there's going to be people there with you.
How'd your high school coach help you stay focused?
My high school coach was there all the time, bro. My high school coach was my English teacher. She was a very tight mentor. Shout out to Coach St. Louis. That's not her last name anymore. It's, Coach Smorrell out of New Jersey.
Okay.
But yeah, she was always there. She was always an advocate. If you know, I was struggling with something, hey coach, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? She was somebody I could confide in. She looked out for me. She gave me my first recruiting letters, and she like really sized it like, yo, this is the work you're putting in. Here you go. This is what you get. Keep up the good work. So it was like she was a cheerleader in your corner, like, you know. And I think that's what a good coach does. And now at the same time, she will also call me on my BS.
There you go.
She'd be like, yo, you not bringing it today in practice. What's going on?
So your coach, so you guys had that relationship enough where she was an advocate for you, but at the same time, she could check you when she saw that you were not being focused.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Beautiful. So yeah,
exactly.
Janelle.
Yeah.
So yeah, surround yourself with people who have like-minded goals and values. Yes. Yeah. Oh man, I learned this. I think I didn't learn this until I'd say post grad. When I started to go into different business ventures, not many of my friends at the time were going that route, and it felt very, very lonely. And I think this is, sometimes this is what people feel in, whether it be relationships, because they might be saving themselves for marriage, or they might have a different set of morals than other people. Not better or worse, but just different. Right. And so it can feel lonely. So association has been key, and I didn't understand that earlier. I didn't either get that or see that earlier. But it was huge. You know, we always heard that our parents say, you know, don't go with those kids, you know, they'll get in trouble. But how many times did we really get you should definitely be around X, Y, and Z person, because you know what, they're really making moves. Yeah. I think it was so easy for us to get that. I figure once y'all have the solid spiritual backgrounds there. But yeah, that was huge. That was huge. I wish I understand that earlier. Of I need to be around people of like mind, people of positive mind. I needed to be around those people. Otherwise, I would start to question my own morals and my own choices.
I will also caveat that too, like with putting yourself around like-minded people, you also have to be so passionate and driven about your goal that you can stand on your own feet.
Yeah. You
know, if your goal can be wavered by your friends saying, "Oh, I don't think that's a good idea," that probably wasn't your goal in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, those things that you're passionate about, you will stand on those things confidently.
Yeah.
Shouting from the rooftop, even when nobody is listening, or there's only one person listening.
Yeah.
And you know, so.
And we'll talk about that for sure next week. Next week's topic for those who just tuned in is a sense of self-identity and how proper mentorship can actually help you really develop your own sense, your own internal fortitude. So we'll talk about that next week for sure. It's a huge thing that I'm hearing a lot from not just our demographic and generation, but also parents. You know, they're looking at their kids and their teens, and they see the confusion, and so how sometimes they feel helpless of helping to form that sense of identity, but almost every effort sometimes can feel counterproductive.
Yeah.
And so we'll talk about that. And secretly, have I been verbally abused by my partner?
Get back to the point of, this is your teammate, this is somebody you're walking through life with. If they can't respect you enough to control their tongue, y'all need to have a heart-to-heart.
Yeah, I think you'll do a bonus night. Yeah, no, Janelle, I'm going to eventually, secretly, I didn't forget about you. Janelle, we're going to eventually have these stored somewhere. Especially, I'm hearing about IGTV. I don't know if that's going to wind up being a thing where I can store these. It's already a thing?
It's already a thing.
Okay, he's getting me hip. So, these will be for sure categorized and all that, so people can go back and view them, because I think that they're just valuable. They're lessons that I've learned as well. So yes,
get your Bible study.
Yeah. But yeah, to get back to your question about the being verbally abused, I'll say for me, no.
But that was enough for me as well.
But that's because you allow into your life certain things, and you do not allow certain things into your life. You have complete control over that. Is it easy when you're in a relationship with somebody? And yes, go on and YouTube. Is it easy to sometimes discern that you're being taken advantage of or verbally abused, maybe when there's so much emotion involved? No, it can be challenging, but you have to figure out, and this is what I mean by I needed to have me settled before I could go to my now fiance. I had to develop me first. And part of developing me was understanding what I would stand for and what I would not stand for. I've never cursed at my fiance. And that's just my choice. There's certain things that I just will not allow. If someone wants to start yelling at me, if someone wants to start cursing, I will not allow that to happen. It'll it'll stop right then and there. So you kind of really have to decide what you will allow in your life and what you will not allow in your life.
Right.
So that was interesting. Let's see here. I'm loving the conversation.
Yeah, great conversation.
Allow it because of how you feel about yourself. Would you agree? Yes. Yeah. Kawan, for sure. If you don't have a strong sense of self, if you don't, it's the cliche. You know, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything, right?
Yeah.
And that's so very true when it comes to what you allow in your relationships. And that doesn't mean be a tyrant, but like you said, if your significant other respects you enough to not cross certain boundaries, then it's not going to happen, or it's very rare that it will happen. It's the same thing with your friendships. Would you allow one of your friends to just hit you in the face?
Not even.
Why do we accept that in other forms? Now, if you have a poor self-image, again, this is not going against mental illness or anything like that. I'm not going down that realm. But if you have a poor self-image, then you will allow those things to happen to you. And you will allow those things to continue to be permit those things to happen to you. So, yeah, I think that's a huge part of it. Again, part of the advice that either I wish I got or I wish I fully understood about relationships was you need to have yourself right before you can be there for somebody else.
Yeah. And it's definitely an ongoing thing. Like, you're not just going to get to this place of, oh yes, I'm enlightened. This is where I am. It's not just like a one place. Like, it's an ever-changing environment. So with that, I think to jump back into the question is like, you got to be able to call it. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things, like what they used to say with bullies, is if you check it up front, it's 9 times out of 10 not going to happen again.
Yeah.
So don't let it become a habit. If that's the case, if somebody is verbally abusive, or just say, cut your ties. I'm out. Like, I can't do this.
Yeah. Yeah. When your mental well-being, emotional well-being, physical well-being, when all that is being threatened, there's nothing that's worth holding on to that's going to check that.
Insert crazy get out GIF here.
Get out. Yeah. No, seriously. So, look, with that, guys, please, when this goes up on Instagram, if you guys want to continue the conversation through the comments, by all means, please do so. I absolutely love it. I appreciate you guys so much for your participation and for your comments there. Again, we will do this every single Thursday. Well, he won't do this every single Thursday. He's got a wife and stuff. But these live videos will happen every single Thursday, 6:30 p.m. It's Confessions of a Mentored Man. Again, just things that, you know what, have impacted my life and I think the lives of people around me that I think are just worth passing on. Also, I'm very excited to announce that my book will be out very, very soon. Actually, July 1, we will launch it. It is called Lessons from Old School. I actually talk about some of the stories that I've experienced and just what I've learned from some of the mentors at different stages in my life. So very excited to have that. Again, it'll be up on this business page. If you guys know people who work with youth, or if you yourself, are a mentor to somebody, please, by all means, pass this along. But then also, thanks, Chanel. Yeah, not everybody knows about the Hammies. Anyway, no, but it's just, if you guys work with youth or if you're around, please, tell them to follow our page. Literally, we're here just to be of service to them, just to be able to pay it forward, because that's where we got to, where we are in life ourselves. So with that, we're signing off. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.